everybody. Welcome to Kimmel's Irish Pub, as you know, or you wouldn't have clicked on it. Time for another movie review. You also know that. Murder on the Orient Express. Probably showing up down around here now, I think. So, I'm getting fancy, I know. You guys like it. Thanks for tuning in. So this movie is about a murder on a train of an American passenger, and a very prominent or recognized detective is tasked with solving the murder as this travels throughout Europe. IMDb has it at a 6.7, which isn't bad, and Rotten Tomatoes 57% from the critics, 58% from the audience or the users like us. So I don't know, I think it sounds cool, kind of like Clue. It's reminding me a little bit about Clue, but I haven't heard a lot about it. I remember when it came out, the previews first started, but that's it. I don't never heard much more about it since then. But now we're gonna find out a lot more. It looks like a pretty good cast. Kenneth Branagh is he's the director and he's the detective. He's from Dunkirk. I had to look it up. Johnny Depp, he's from 21 Jump Street, the TV series. Michelle Pfeiffer, Catwoman and Batman. Penelope Cruz, who was with Johnny Depp in that movie about the drugs. What was that? Anyway, we'll come back to that one. William Dafoe, we've seen some movies with him in. Just most recently in The Florida Project. Judi Dench, Josh Gad, sorry, my apologies. And we know him as Olaf. And then the other one I wanted to mention was Daisy Ridley. I think I'm saying that right. Ridley? Star Wars, you know? So there's a lot of good people in it. It seems like an interesting concept. I think it's a remake as well. The old movie with Sean Connery, I believe, was in it. But I didn't watch that one. We're jumping right into the new one here. And I'll check it out. I'll check in and let you know how it's going, alright? Stay tuned. Hey everybody. Time for a quick check-in. We're watching Murder on the Orient Express. We're at the 54-minute and 21-second mark. Oddly enough, that means there's 54 minutes and 29 seconds left in the movie, so we're right at the halfway point, give or take 4 seconds. I almost was not going to stop it and just keep going because there's not a lot to share. As I had said, there's world-renowned detective and a bunch of people get on a train traveling through Europe, and somebody becomes murdered, and it's Johnny Depp's character. Not a spoiler alert, but yeah, so he ends up being murdered, and now the detective is tasked with figuring out who did the murder. They're in a first-class train. I'm going to say there's 10 to 12 people maybe on there, maybe not that many. Let's just go with 10. I probably should have counted them for you, but you know, there's a couple people on this train. You know, Michelle Pfeiffer, Josh Gad, you know, William Dafoe, Penelope Cruz, which, by the way, is below with her and Johnny Depp. Sorry about that earlier, but you know, so now the detective is going through, you know, interviewing all of them and doing detective work, trying to solve the crime. Nothing else really sticks out. One other fact is that they're stuck. There was an avalanche that kind of derailed the train, so people are coming out to dig them out. Meanwhile, he's going through this investigation. But other than that, there's no, you know, like, oh, you have to know this or anything like that. It's going the way I thought it would go, and a lot of the beginning of the movie was character development for the detective, you know, to understand how good he was. He solves something right in the beginning, and then, you know, he meets a friend who happens to be, you know, the guy who, I don't know, kind of hosts the people on the train, and he gets him on the train because he needs to go somewhere. So there's a little bit of a relationship there, but otherwise, very little development on the other characters. Some here and there, but not enough to know. You know, like, it's hard. I was hoping maybe I would have an opportunity to try and solve it. It's really just all guesses at this point. There's nothing that leads you like a Clue kind of movie where you're trying to figure it out yourself. But that's okay. But that's the way it's going right now. Quick note on your host right here. I've never been on a train. I mean, on little trains, those, you know, in amusement parks and things like that, and you know, but never really traveled on a train. So I find it interesting. Seems like it'd be fun. Has a bar car. That'd be cool. You know, so might start looking into that for the next trip. But enough about me. I'm going to get back into it here a little bit and see what happens. Hopefully it spices up a little bit, because right now it's not that spicy. Alright, I'll be back. Okay everybody, we're at the credits of Murder on the Orient Express. And I can tell you, you know, like I had said previously, I didn't watch the 1974 version of this, nor did I read the book, Agatha Christie's book about this. So I went into it a little bit blind. I mean, like I had said, I knew a little bit about it, but no background. And so I think there's going to probably be anybody who's a purist or has seen those movies or read the books, I don't think is going to like this film. Me, I wasn't thrilled with the film myself. So I'm sitting here watching it for about an hour and 20 minutes, maybe an hour and 30 minutes, an hour and 54-minute film. So there was maybe 20 minutes left in the film. And like I found my thoughts wandering. You know, I like to watch movies, and like I said, I was hoping to try and figure it out myself, but my mind would wander a little bit. So I don't know if it was part of that. His accent was also hard. You know, I don't know if it's those kinds of things, but it didn't give me enough throughout the movie. And what I'm trying to say is, at the end, the last 20 minutes I thought were great. You know, he talks about all the clues that he's found, but it's like right at the conclusion of the film. I was hoping to be getting these little clues, you know, if there was 12 people on the train, and you know how they're involved, if they're involved, and there's one point where two people who I had no idea were on the train. I mean, it didn't show up until the last 30 minutes of the movie while he's doing his investigation, and you know, everybody else is in plain sight, and you get a little bit of background on him, but then the two people just, out of nowhere, he knocks on the door, there's two more people, and no idea they were on the train and what their involvement in this whole mystery thing. But, you know, he's at the end, and he's got everybody lined up, and he's telling us what he knows about each one of them and how they factor into this possible murder, which was interesting, but they should have done that throughout, as I felt. Because I didn't get enough out of, you know what I mean, like, oh, there's all these connections, and they tell you right at the end. It's like, no. I mean, there were some, you got some, so it all also revolves around a child that was kidnapped and then murdered, the Armstrong case. So it's referenced throughout the movie. And, you know, so then he starts to tie things back to that, but they should have done it as they went through the different people, you know, looking at Penelope Cruz, as we know she's in the film, and you know, what is the evidence behind her? Could she have done it? What's the relationship? That would have been more interesting, and I would have been, you know, okay, but it doesn't do that. He does that for maybe some of them, but not all of them, and then at the end, he does it for all of them and says how they could possibly, you know, be involved, which is okay, but, you know, throughout the movie, I don't know, it was very dry to me. And that's where I kind of lost a little bit of my train of thought as I was trying to watch this movie. The actors were pretty good. You know, they're all A-list or B-plus actors, which was great. But for me, you know, it just, I don't know, 5 or a 6. Probably give it a 6. I'll give it a 6. Really, because, excuse me, you know, that last 20 minutes. The last 20 minutes made it for me. I enjoyed it then. But throughout, it wasn't that great for me, and for the reasons that I said. So, I don't know. Check it out. If you haven't seen the 1974 or any other remake, I think there's multiple, or read the book, maybe check this out. I can't see how other people would like it if they did. But anyway, check it out. Let me know what you think. That's my take on it all, going into it clean and just watching it for the movie aspect of it. Not great. Worth a watch maybe, but not something I'd seek out. And that's it. I'm not going to get into it anymore. I think I gave you enough. I'd love to hear from you and let me know what you think. Alright, thanks for tuning in. Kimmel's Irish Pub.